The opinions expressed by tonight's guest do not represent the opinions or position of Spaced Out Radio, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with SOR Media. Listener discretion is advised. Here at Spaced Out Radio, we are about to take you higher. Broadcasting from the Rocky Mountains of Colorado to you listening around the world. This is Spaced Out Sunday with host Tessa Nicole Thomas. You can follow Tessa on our Facebook page at Spaced Out Radio, on Twitter at TessaTNT, and you can subscribe to her YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio for the archive. We break on command 'cause women rule the world. Buckle up, space travelers. Let the countdown begin.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's time to go for a ride with host Tessa Nicole Thomas.
I'm such a lucky guy, 'cause after all this time, it's like the deeper I go, the deeper I fall.
Good evening, Spaced Out Radio. Secure your tinfoil hats, hold on tight, and buckle down loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 419.9 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, September 30th, Monday, September 31st for those of you on the East Coast and beyond, and this is Spaced Out Radio. I hope you guys had a rockin' week, an awesome day, and an even better evening. I am your host, Tessa TNT, and I am live tonight broadcasting from beautiful Bayfield, Colorado. We are thousands strong nightly on Spaced Out Radio Network, spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, as well as Deep Talk Radio, which you can find at deeptalkradio.com. Don't forget to visit our website, spacedoutradio.com, where you can peruse the Spaced Out Radio store, read the encounter online, dealing with everything strange and odd. Tonight, I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there. Tonight, we have psychic Cynthia Rose McCaw. But first, I was going to talk a little bit about last night. Four Corners Paranormal Investigations, which is a group that I founded. We did the world's largest ghost hunt last night, and we were in beautiful Silverton, Colorado, and I actually posted some pictures of the lovely changing fall colors, and it was quite active. Before we even kicked off, it was about 6 o'clock in the evening, and I'm sitting outside with my buddy, and all of a sudden she says, "That door just opened," and I'm like, "What?" And she pointed, and I saw the door closing, so I ran over to the window, looked down the stairs, nobody was on there. She ran around the corner, looked around the corner, nobody was there, and it was just very awesome because it opened and closed all by itself. And then it just went on from that. We kicked off at 8 p.m. And we did a round of questions that 154, I believe, teams across the world ask simultaneously, trying to bridge the gap between the other side and ourselves. And so we did that for about an hour, and then we went into our own realm of investigation, and we had things moving. You could see images in the laser grid, people coming across in the ghost box. We had EMF antennas being touched, tap, tap, tap. We saw shadows, images, people were getting messages, and then we sent everyone home. We planned on going upstairs and poking around in the kitchen where there's quite a lot of activity, but Linda and myself, we went up there and we creep, and this is an 1882 building. It was built in 1880, I believe, but not quite open until 1882. And it's just creaky floors. You're trying to be quiet, but no matter how lightly you step, you just hear every creak and crack of it. And we get to the kitchen door, and Linda looks at me, and she's like, I don't think we're supposed to be here. And I'm like, Linda, they said that we could. They gave us permission. She's like, she just gave me this look, and I'm like, oh, do you mean spiritually? And she was like, yes. So we decided to respect the spirits and go back downstairs because they had quite a lot of us. Everybody crashed out quite quickly because everyone has muggle jobs. Myself and Mel stayed up just telling stories back and forth, and she started to drift off to sleep. You could hear her breathing getting slower and more steady, and her eyes weren't open. And all of a sudden, she sits up and looks at me, and she's like, did you just tap me on the shoulder? And I was like, no, I didn't. Are you okay? And she's like, something just tapped me on the shoulder. And then not even 5 minutes later, Cheryl wakes up and says, somebody just tapped me 3 times on the hip. So Mel got it 3 times on the shoulder. Cheryl got it 3 times on the hip. So that was interesting. And then everybody went to sleep. And of course, I'm the last one up because my bedtime's usually 4 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, there was someone walking around upstairs, and Mel was awake at this point. And I was like, do you hear that? And it sounds like somebody walking with cowboy boots, and it's a really quick pace walk. And she's like, yeah, that's just Jim, the general manager. He said he gets up in the middle of the night and makes a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I'm like, is Jim really wearing work boots right now? Like, does Jim ever wear boots? And she's like, no. So I was like, I'm going to go upstairs and investigate. And she's like, well, by the time you get back, I'm going to be asleep. And yeah, I went up, looked around, nobody was there. And what else happened? Oh, there was a chair right next to where Mel was sleeping that kept creaking. Somebody kept sitting in it, and the wood creak, and the leather. It's like a 60s, 70s model chair. The leather would creak, and so she moved closer to me. She was in between me and Jamie, and so we were all in a group. But yeah, everybody got up really early. I got up at 8 o'clock in the morning, against my will. But it was very interesting. We had a lot of activity, and we can't wait to do it again next year. But right now, I want to introduce our guest, and we have Miss Cynthia Rose McCaw. And she is a second-generation medium. There were readers on both sides of her family, and her mother was a gifted reader. Her great-grandmother offered healings. As a young girl, Cynthia Rose was naturally clairaudient, and this is the ability to hear the spirit. Born a medium, she had regular communication with her grandfather, who was in the spirit realm and who she had never met. As a young teen at 15 years old, she began reading tarot cards after the astrologer Dennis McMillan did her astrological chart and handed her a deck of cards to read. Cynthia Rose began to read cards and studying astrology with Dennis, and studied other modalities as well. He became a great teacher and mentor, encouraging her gifts. At age 17, she was the first and only young person to be invited to a private psychic healing group from the president of Vancouver Psychic Society. She learned spiritual healing techniques and the ability to read energy or the energy of an individual. Spirit awareness and communication was also a part of this group. In her mid-20s, she decided to keep developing, and took a break from formal readings to raise her son, which is a very noble cause and is an awesome job. Knowing reading was part of her life path, she made an agreement with Spirit to return reading formally later in her life. She has been on this path for 40 years. Cynthia Rose also completed coursework in energy healing and practices spiritual energy healing work today. After moving to Colorado with her husband, she found herself at a spiritualistic church and eventually began doing mediumship readings again. Cynthia Rose brings almost 40 years of education and experience to her mediumship and psychic work. Her abilities include clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, and claircognizance. An Ordained Interfaith Minister, aka ADL, she performs ceremonies by request. Cynthia Rose has studied mediumship with some of the best mediums, including, and I hope I'm pronouncing them right, James Van Praagh, Tony Stockwell from the UK, Janet Novahick, and John Holland. She has also taken workshops with Simon James and Brian Robertson and Mavis Patilla. Evidential mediumship is said to be a lifelong study and commitment, and Cynthia Rose continues to study the practice of mediumship, and she is known to say it is an absolute joy and an absolute honor to share her gifts and do this work. Thank you so much for coming in tonight and being on the show, Cynthia. I've been looking forward to this for months.
Hi, Tessa. To be here. Thanks for asking me.
So how's everything? Oh, go ahead.
That was quite an introduction.
Yeah. Well, generally I just go by what I'm sent with the bio. Sometimes it's quite a mouthful. But, I mean, that's quite a list of accomplishments. I mean, you've been dealing with this since you were born, basically. I mean, when was your first psychic experience?
Two years old. I could have been 3, but I was supposed to sleep in my own room. And this is kind of a strange one. So Mom had said, well, I'm going to close the door. I just can't remember if I was 2 or 3. I'm going to close the door. And so I used to see faces, and I didn't like that so much. And so one night, as I was going to sleep, I saw this old lady, and she was laughing. I liked it, and I got scared. But for my mom, because I wanted to show her what a brave little girl was. So I was just calling out for help, and very large spirit bear came into the room, put his arms around me, and held me until I took all my fear away. Yeah. Wrap your head around that.
Yeah.
And I didn't like being scared. I didn't like seeing them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it became, yeah, I think that our gifts can flow how we want to. Now I'm like, fine, let me see. But I have to tell you, to start to see, I think being on this earthly plane is a little easier to just feel, sense, see. What I was doing was what's called objective seeing. So seeing from, like, see you in a cafe, seeing that way. And most people see that way. Kids more often see that way. Most people don't. And so I used to talk a lot after that. For a couple of years, I became obsessed about being blind and talking about if I had to lose one of my senses, it would be my site. I mean, it became a big deal for me. And so, now I'm fine. I'm like, okay, go ahead, bring it back. But when I do have the odd object, it's still startling, I have to tell you.
It sounds like you're breaking up a little bit. Are you plugged in and everything? As far as to the charger? Sometimes that helps reception.
Yes, but
are you still there?
yes, I am.
Okay.
Any better?
Yes. So, you said this, you felt the fear and you were afraid. Was that your grandpa that appeared to you and held you to comfort you, or do you know who that was at this point?
Well, to me, it was a spirit animal.
Oh, wow.
So did I cut out? You didn't hear that?
No, I just heard a spirit.
You didn't hear? Yeah, that, for me, I was in face, and then a big, huge black bear, opened the door of my room and held me until I fell asleep. And then I became all about wanting to be a bear for a couple of years as well.
So do you think that...
my grandfather, you're talking about me hearing my grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
that was more, I didn't see him, I heard him.
Okay. And you were able to communicate with him?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, and I didn't question it. Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I think we have a slight delay.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's strange. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't experienced that before. Usually it lines right up, so that's really odd to me. But I am actually this evening using my friend's internet because my internet went out and they couldn't fix it until Monday, and I really needed it before then because I was like, I do not want to reschedule this appointment. Like, I've been waiting for months to talk to Cynthia Rose and have been so stoked about it. So do you think that this obsession with, the being blind and such dates back to perhaps a past life, or what do you think that was all about?
I don't know for sure, but it really could. I mean, well, that it could. But I think I've had experiences in this life that are unexplainable for this life. When I was a little girl, I had the same dream every night until I was about 11 years old. I mean, every single night I had this dream.
I had one of those. I believe it started a bit after my mom was killed, and it didn't stop until I was about 7 or 8. And I was 5, almost 6 when my mom was killed, and it was just reoccurring, same dream over and over and over again. And I thought maybe it had to do with a past life. It really weirded me out, and it really stressed me out because it was a very stressful dream. Can you tell us about your dream?
It was all about helping people, and I was always gathering people up and helping them. And I somehow, I don't know if that's because of the dream, but I somehow knew that I knew 2 things at the age of 5. I was going to be helping people in a special order. I just knew those 2 things.
That's awesome. That's a good recurring dream.
Mine
was more of a nightmare. Mine started off being on a iron beam that was held up by a
I
crane,
think that,
and then the wind would blow and the clouds would part, and all of a sudden I could see tops of skyscrapers and little tiny people and cars below. And then all of a sudden it would blow me off of this iron rod, and I'd fall and fall and fall until right before I hit the sidewalk. So I think mine was just, at first I thought it was maybe a past life or something weird, but I learned to discover that perhaps it was the unstable position I was in at that time as a child. But yours is very positive. I'm glad you got that message so early.
yeah. Well, and you are breaking up. I'm trying to ascertain everything that you're saying, so I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you. Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but I think I can hear the majority of what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah, so dreams are interesting because sometimes it's simply our psyche trying to work something out, and sometimes it's actually guidance, I believe, and other times it is truly a loved one coming into our dreams. And there's a big difference between one and them actually being in your dream. They are two different things. And if you've experienced it, you know it. They're just two different things.
Yeah, after my mom passed, she actually came to me in a dream, and I'm walking through this park, and it's a big open field, and then there's trees on the left and right, and then there's grass in between, and then there's a sidewalk right in the middle, and I can see this figure walking towards me, and as it gets closer, I realize it's my mom, so I pick up the pace a little, and right where we meet, there's a bench, so we sit down and talk, and she tells me, everything's okay, I'm okay, tell your brothers and sisters, and your dad that I'm okay and everything's going to be okay. And she didn't get to hang out for too long. Before long, she said she had to go, and you know how you want them to stay. But like you were saying, you know it's not a dream. It's like another realm of reality. I think it's almost like another realm of existence between our world and the spirit world, and a place where we can coexist and meet. Have you had an experience like that?
Yeah, my mom came to me in a dream as well and told me it was her time to pass. And she said, you have to let me go because it's my time.
So this was before she even passed?
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting.
So,
was she still in her right mind, or was she in another dimension as far as her mind went? Was she able to communicate with you regularly, or was she kind of in some sort of state where she couldn't?
I went to see her. I laid down for a nap, and then I went to see her. I don't know, within a couple of hours, I saw her, and she wasn't conscious. But I had already dreamt that it was her time. So her soul was already communicating with me before she passed.
That's interesting. Do you do any astral work? I kind of fear it, and haven't intentionally done it, but I think a couple times it's tried to subconsciously happen, where I'm starting to drift off to sleep, and then all of a sudden I'm like falling off the couch onto my hands and knees and trying to stand up, and I feel like I'm really, really messed up. Like I'm really drunk and I can't stand up no matter what I do, and I kind of compare it to being a drunk baby. Like you're on all fours and you can't get up, and then I finally got myself back on the couch, and then I woke up and I was like, whoa, that was really weird. But as far as intentionally astrally projecting, like I'm afraid of leaving my body and not being able to get back in, or somebody else inhabiting it before I get back there. Do you think she might have been subconsciously, astrally projecting to you, trying to get that message across to you, having that connection to you as a mother?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of man-made stories about spirituality and about spirits, but what I know is just my truths of my experience. So I don't follow a lot of beliefs just because someone tells me. My experience comes from what I know, and I know that she came to me, and I know that that my reaction and the way I was at the hospital was the reason that everything that she finally was able to lay to rest. So I think it's I think it's quite possible to communicate soul to soul, even if somebody is alive. So, for instance, I tell you, I had a years and years and years ago, I had a lady. I went for a reading, and I went for a particular reason, not because I needed a reading, because somebody who had been looking for me had gone to this reader, and the reader had said something about me, and I thought, well, I'll go meet her. So I sat down with this lady, and she said, there's a lady that you astral travel with, but you don't talk during the day, but you're very close astral travel friends. And I went, what? And she said, yeah, she's going to have a heart attack in like 4 months. And you need to help the family. And if you don't, then basically I was being asked to step in and help. And it turned out that I knew exactly who she was talking about because of the way they described the woman. She had a unique look, so I knew who they meant. So I took note of the date, and I wrote down what 4 months would be. I didn't think it was going to happen because I thought, well, why would this family call me? Because, frankly, they didn't like me. Why would they call me? So, but it was 10 days before 4 months, and I got a phone call asking me to come to the hospital and be there with one of the family members. And so at that time, I told her daughter about what had happened, and I said, I have for you, and you have to listen to your mother and do what your mom wants so that she can continue living. And situation, and all went well. But around that time, so I'm talking about, we communicate with people on another level. Our souls communicate all the time. So I also had the experience where I have been aware of talking to somebody that I didn't see for 7 or 8 years. And I had been mad at this person, and all of a sudden I was thinking of them, and I said to them, yeah, of course I forgive you, and I'll talk to you. And then I was in the shower as I was saying this, wondering why I was saying it, of course. And then away I went, drove off to where I was going, entered the building to run into that person I hadn't seen in almost 8 years.
Yeah, and I don't believe in coincidence. I believe
an apology.
Yeah, I believe everything happens for a reason. So did you get that apology that they owed you, or did you have a different outcome?
Yes. No, I allowed them to say their apology and say whatever they wanted. But I had no contact number for them. I didn't know where they were or anything. And then all of a sudden I get, out of the blue, I'm hearing their soul talking to mine, and I'm responding, and I'm thinking, that's a little crazy, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, even though I for all this, I was going, well, that's nuts. But then the minute that I saw this person, I went, okay. Books have said that we are able to communicate. And when I was about 18, 19, I took some coursework. We used to practice connecting with people that were living for fun. And, it was a fun thing to do, but I never thought of it as like something to do or useful. It was just something we did. So, for instance, I would think of a friend and I would think, well, she really needs a phone call right now. And I would call someone and people would say to me, how do you know when to call? Like, I really needed a friend today. And I think it's because, there is a saying that we are all in relationship all the time. So it's our illusion that we're not relating to people. So every thought we have, if you have a loving thought towards someone, that energy is going out in a loving connection.
Yeah, and I agree.
If you're angry or hateful thought towards someone, that's what we're putting out in the world.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I actually spent the last couple weeks with my 3-year-old daughter in Phoenix, and a few times I'd be thinking things but not saying them, and she'd look at me and say, "What, Mom?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't say anything." But she heard that thought come across to her, and you were saying before how you don't go by what people tell you, you go by what you've experienced and learned through life, and that's what I do as well. I don't discount what people tell me. I try to have an open mind about it, but I don't take it for gospel truth. But I do listen to my gut and that gut instinct, and like you were saying, sometimes you get that thought about a person out of nowhere, or a thought about a friend, and you call them and reach out to them, and that's the time that they really need it. And so I think it's so important to listen to your gut instinct.
Absolutely. If we stay connected and live from that, our true soul self, then life is much more happy and much more peaceful, because it's our little human self that is worried about the day-to-day things that will take away our peace and our joy. But if we really realize we're living from a different purpose, then life sure is a lot easier here. Don't you agree?
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I used to be a person that I'm going to follow my heart, which is all good and well, but my heart has led me astray. I overthink things, so my mind has led me astray. If I just listen to my gut internal instinct, it has never led me astray. And I've learned that through, mistakes I've made or not listening to it. I've learned to listen to that still small voice within. And I do think everybody has that. It's just a matter of kind of quieting down your mind or whatever, and listening to that message or that feeling that you're getting. Maybe I should go this way instead of this way, or maybe I should call my brother or my mom or that friend you haven't talked to in so long. There's a reason for it, and like you were saying, we're all in each other's lives for a reason, and I believe we're all here to help each other, raise each other up, because this kind of is like a hell on earth to a lot of us. It's a really, really hard place, yet it's a beautiful place, and there's so many beautiful experiences. If we just listen to that guttural instinct and go with that, it saves us a lot of trauma and drama.
So why do you think it's a hell on earth?
Well, I've dealt with a lot of things. I mean, a lot of people tell me, wow, you've had a really hard life. Like, my first memory, I wish it was my first paranormal experience, but my first memory is being molested at the age of 3. And then my mom dying, being murdered by a drunk driver when I was 5, almost 6. The fighting between my mom and dad because of the drinking, the different horrible things that happened to us because of their party life. And, these hard things happened, but I believe these things happened for a reason, because had they not happened, I would not have experienced what I have, and I would not have what I have. My daughter, Mackenzie, had my mom not passed, my dad wouldn't have abandoned us. My aunt and uncle, which my aunt is now my mom. She's been my mom since I was like 7 or 8 years old, after she came and got us from our grandparents. But she finally adopted me this last year in May. But had I not gone through these things, I would still be in that place in Arkansas where I'm being abused and my mom is making excuses for it and defending her sister's kids instead of defending and protecting me. Instead, I was moved to this other area where it is hard, you miss your mom, you miss your dad, and you're kind of distracted and daydreaming, like, what is my dad doing right now? Is he okay? Blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, it leads you in this direction, and I believe there's not just one path, there's several different ones you can take, and it just depends on what decision you make. Had this not happened, I don't think I would have graduated high school. I would have never joined the military, which I always, like, anytime I say never, it happens. I would never join the military, but I did, because I was in an abusive relationship. So I've learned to not say that unless I'm talking about past tense stuff. So I joined the military, and in doing that, I met my oldest daughter. I call him my oldest daughter's donor, because I left him at 6 months pregnant because he was a pathological liar. He had all kinds of crap that happened in his life that made him who he was, and he was struggling with his self-image. He didn't even know who he was. When I met him, he was an Australian named Gage Black, but his name was actually Robert from Tennessee. I can't say his full name because of disclosure reasons. But yeah, I wouldn't have had my daughter. It was me and her for 2 years, and then I got that message, like, it kept going through my head. I'm going to meet my husband tonight. I'm going to meet my husband tonight. I wonder what he's like. I wonder what he looks like. And I was really, really excited, and I kept getting this message over and over again. And then I did meet him, and it really knocked me off my feet, because he was totally not my type, but I could not quit thinking about him and the things he said and stuff like that. But, each bad thing that happens to us, or each good thing, like everything, and Robert is in the chat room saying Brisbane, because I'm from Brisbane, Australia, and it's Brisbane. And Robert's from Australia, so he's schooled me on that. But it does, it leads us on a path, and I think, if you learn from a mistake, it's not a mistake, it's a lesson. But to a lot of people, like, they can't see the reason behind this hardship, is where I'm getting to with the hell on earth thing. Like, to me, I don't think of it like that. Like, I love my life, and I think it's beautiful, and yes, I'm going through a hard time right now, but it's for a reason, and I will grow stronger from this, and I will become a better person than what I am right now. But a lot of people just kind of wallow in that misery, and they do. Like, the majority of people that I talk to think that this is hell on earth, and maybe it's because if it isn't, hard, if you don't have the hardship, you won't realize the beauty in life. I'm not sure the answer behind that, but that's what I've heard from the majority of people that I talk to.
Right. And I think, I'm sorry all that happened to you. You're cutting out, but I think I got the gist of what you're saying. And we do have difficult times here. And I have my own story of many difficult things, but I'm at a place now where, like you say, this is all been part of the learning. And I kind of, it's funny, I think of things, yes, these were lessons. They make me more of who I am. They make me compassionate. They give me understanding when I communicate with the spirit world. Many experiences I've had, I'm able to understand because I have quite an unusual life experience. So I'm able to understand and serve in that capacity. But I'm at the place where I'm truly grateful for, something terrible that happens for me without any pain, without any sadness, and really just in a place of joy. But, if someone had told me that it would be good for me to be there when I was going through my own suffering and my own hard times, I would have just told them to go away. Like, when you're going through something, you're going through something. And, in the 80s when, people were talking about you create your own reality. And so something bad happens to you, everybody would say, oh, you've got bad juju, or you've done something bad karmically. And
Yeah.
I just don't believe that.
Yeah, me neither.
Don't believe it. Because I'll tell you, the spirit world is a beautiful place for me. It always is. I've never not had it. It's the living here that we got to watch out for sometimes, and sometimes not. But I trust the spirit world implicitly. They've never let me down, right from the age of young. You know, the spirit world is always there, and it doesn't matter whether they, you could have somebody who maybe wasn't what we consider a nice person here, but I just know that when we pass into the spirit world, we are aware how we affect everybody and how we have affected everybody. But
So
here we've got our egos, and here we've got, all the stuff we're dealing with. There, we don't have our egos. There we're just aware, and there we're encased in love. Here we may not feel love, and as my father would say, not feeling love changes a whole lot for someone.
Yeah, it can make you cold and not so nice. Or it can make you warmer and more understanding. It just depends on where you decide to stand there. Like, do you, decide to build yourself up and move beyond this, or do you decide to play the victim for the rest of your life? Like, the decision is up to you. You make that decision. People do things to you, but that doesn't mean you have to accept it. And there's so many steps that sometimes it takes to get past that. But yeah. I mean, bad things happen to good people all the time. It could just be meant to be. It could be karma. I don't think so. Could be a lesson. I don't know. But we had a question here in the chat room from Jade, and she's wondering, what does she know about the same person who keeps showing up in dreams in a negative way? It's like being stalked, but in dreams. What are your thoughts on this type of occurrence? What type of person would be able to do this dream walking?
So if she has the same negative person showing up in that sense, then you can bring it into your consciousness and clear that out. And there can be almost like if you can embody that person and redirect it, is what I want to say. So you have a negative, I'm not sure exactly her question without talking to her, but the idea, if you have something of a repetitive thing going on with this, there is a battle going on perhaps with the soul, and empowering her soul in another way, or, maybe getting, let me just give you an experience that I had at a dream. I was a teenager, and I don't know if this will help, but so I was, reading cards and just on my path, and I think I worked in a restaurant, and I did this, and I had this dream, and it was almost like a quest of where was my soul sitting with this. And in this dream, I became very clear that I was not going to go with this individual and follow any of that, because I didn't like what they represented and who they were. And so one could argue that it was my psyche. One could argue that it was a spirit. It doesn't really matter what it was. It was a battle in my soul of saying, I stand for truth, I stand for love, I stand for integrity. Now you take a hike. And I didn't do a dream walking kind of thing, but I certainly, that's something that you can do on your own as a quiet, write it out, speak it out, and vent it out. And if it doesn't go away, then there's an issue underneath that has to be faced. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and when you come to that realization of the subconscious, like I think it was about 5 years ago, I came to the realization that I kept subconsciously destroying my happiness because I subconsciously felt like I didn't deserve to be happy. And so I'd do stupid little things to mess things up, and it would be a disaster. But then I saw what I was doing, I realized what I was doing, and I quit doing it. But yeah, it's a struggle within each of us, and we all have our own battles that we got to get through. It's just realizing those and seeing them, and it's very interesting. Oh, there's so many questions I want to ask you too, but I think we're on a good track here.
Well, I think the idea is that we need to empower our soul in a way that helps us feel like for me, the idea when I was younger of overcoming evil, good and evil, I lived in that paradigm when I was younger. And so I did things that I felt strengthened my power as a good person. Do you see? It's what I did. I don't live in that paradigm anymore, but that's where I used to live, and that's what I did at the time. So.
Yeah, it's funny, and when you see it, you're like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this whole time. How could I be so stupid? But it's a learning and building process, and I think it's not only for us, but it's for those around us as well. Because I think we're here to love one another and try to build each other up. And right now in the world, it feels like, especially in the United States, like I can't remember a time when we were so divided. And then when I say that, I think of Vietnam, and that's the last time I can think of when our country was so divided. But it's just, politics and beliefs and all these things that are being cast aside that have been here this whole time. Like, so many things are being stripped away from us, and we're being pitted against each other, it feels like, and that's so much easier for the government or whoever is out there trying to take us over to do so. If they just get us distracted by fighting one another, then they can just come in and do whatever they want. Like, look at this hand while this hand is doing this. It's just a crazy thing going on. But I think if we work together... Oh, go ahead. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's such... America is so tribalistic now. Everybody, is so separated in so many ways. Stop listening to each other, or, you can agree to disagree. And there is so much of that going on. I agree with everything you're saying. And the thing is, we give our power away if we give in to the tribalism. Because we can say, wait a minute, no, there are a lot of people that are saying, no, I'm going to love my fellow human being. I'm going to not add to the collective pain body, but I'm going to add to, being kind. I don't mean living Pollyanna-ish in a way that, it's not real, but we have a choice with everything we do, with every thought we make, and every time we see some things if there's news or negative things, you can let that drain your power, or you can say, no, I'm in charge of my life and how things happen. Because aren't there some people that everything that happens stresses them out, and then that you see that ripple in their life? Well, there's no point because the world's like this. Well, if you, excuse my language, but if you get up every day and think that the world is giving you a shit sandwich, that's all you're going to get, right?
Right. And I have to bring this up because I don't think I mentioned it before, but we can't say the SH word or the F word, but we can say hell and other fun stuff like that. We can even say genital names, but we can't say the SH word. Oh. So you're all good. I just had to say that because I realized I forgot to mention it. But I do totally agree with you, and I'm not offended by what you said. It is true. And people, some people, I don't know. I have a niece out there, and I refer to her as the ask hole, A-S-K hole, because she'll sit there and repetitively ask the same question over and over and over again, and no matter how many times you give her, the means to get through it or the answer, she'll just wallow in her misery because that's where she's comfortable. That's where she likes to be. And she doesn't want to move on from that. And it's really like irritating and discouraging for me. I'm just like, really? Are we still here? Like, you're going to ask me like 100 more times the same question? I got to go to Walmart.
And in a way, she's your greatest teacher then, because if you can just maintain your state of mind that's comfortable for you and let her have that, then you've really accomplished something. Because if somebody's in that state, we don't know why they had to. What if we don't know this? This could be completely untrue. But what if somebody is processing something that we know nothing about? Who knows? It could be a past life, it could be this. Like, they're processing something, and who am I to judge someone having that? It's really hard to be around it. I get that, but we can also just say, I'm not responsible for your pain. I don't have to fix you. But those of us that care so much want to fix, right?
And that has been an issue for me. Like, I have always been a fixer or a helper. Like, I'm always there to help people. And I do love doing it. Like, serving my fellow man makes me feel better. Helping somebody makes me feel better, because when I'm helping somebody, I'm helping myself. But, oh man, where was I even going with that? But I've learned not to do that so much, because there's some people that you can't help. And when you get into that, like, frame of mind, you kind of dig a little rut for yourself that it's hard to get out of. And they say that enabling is like the worst drug out there. And it really irritates me, enabling, because I'm dealing with that in my life right now. Within my inner circle, a member of my family. I'm not going to name names. Some of you may know who I'm talking about, but it's the worst drug. You're enabling people to destroy themselves through alcohol or other drugs because you're making excuses for them. And you made this promise to your dad or your brother or whoever that you'd take care of them through their life. But what about your family that, you began and that you're building? Like, how do you just cast that aside and focus on this original promise you made to your dad or your brother? Like, I don't understand that. And I think I went off track.
That has to do with the soul. It has to do with the soul contract, and contracts can be kept or broken. It's up to us. But that has to do with each individual deciding to keep or break a contract. Like, for example, when my father was dying, I love my dad. Okay, I love him very much. We're very close. But when he was dying, he was really difficult. And I had, some friends said to me, you don't have to put up with him being that way. Don't go see him. Don't do that. And I never for a minute would not be there for him. And I don't regret 1 minute of it, because I knew it was something that I wanted to do. Was it hard? Yeah, it was hard. But I don't regret it for a minute. And, when he was dying the last I don't know, a few months or something, he looked at me and he said, "You have been the best daughter." And he had tears in his eyes. And he said every time, he had been in such pain that he would lash out sometimes. And he said, every time I was around you, the pain became less.
Yeah, or at least bearable,
It became bearable. And, I didn't know that at the time, but, I knew in my heart that I wanted to be there for him. And sometimes we have to say, no, I can't be there for someone because this is their stuff. I mean, look at it this way. If we rescue people from something, then what we're saying is they're not powerful enough to change their life, to do what it is they want. And so we have to step in because we're more powerful than them. We're not really honoring their soul's ability to do whatever it is they need to do. And how many times has someone helped someone only to have them go out and recreate the same problem because they're trying to figure something out?
Yeah, but like once that person reaches, okay, let's say this is a little brother, and his older brother, he's always taken care of. He's allowed him to live the life that he wants and provide for him a job because he won't go out and find his own, and he's able to drink every day and just basically destroy himself and destroy contracts that this little brother has made, trying to provide for his own family that he's created because he made a promise to his dad that he would take care of the family. And then dealing with this said person's nephews, hypothetically, he promised his big brother that was killed during a surgical procedure, but these guys are like in their 40s, and it's like, you got to allow people to grow up. You can't keep wiping people's butt. You got to put them out there to strive to achieve things on their own. Otherwise, what are they doing besides being dependent on you?
What does the word taking care of someone mean in this case? Does that mean
taking
care of them mean empower them to do their own thing, to look after themselves? Because we can cripple people by taking care of them so much. Because, like I say, we're saying, oh, you're helpless, I have to take care of you. Who is the one there that's saying, like, then we're getting, if I'm taking care of you,
themselves, like other people are doing it. It's just a crazy little thing that I've, that can happen, and before you know it, 20 years has passed, and you're still doing this for the same people. And, after you made these original promises, you make this promise to this woman that you decide to take as your wife and build your own family with, but you put these other people above her and above your family that you're building. Like, I don't even see how that makes sense. But on that note, we have to go to our first break. And when we come back for our second hour, we are actually going to begin readings. So you guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The first annual Caribou Paracon is happening September 28th to 30th in the 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. Brought to you by the Canadian Society of Questers and Spaced Out Radio. Come listen to our featured speaker, Grant Cameron, along with Elizabeth Anglin, Paisley Town, Mike Moran, Eric Cooper, and more. It's a 3-day supernatural adventure at the Spruce Hills Resort and Spa. Tickets for the weekend are $150 Canadian. The Caribou Paracon, celebrating everything paranormal.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you an experiencer? Have you had run-ins with strange creatures you can't explain? ETs, Dogman, Bigfoot, werewolves? They're enough to scare the daylights out of anyone. Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski from your 4-Cop. And on the last Monday of every month, you can listen to me and the host, Dave Scott, talk about the weird and the strange being reported on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going to bring my investigations and sources, you bring your experiences, and we'll figure out the rest together. Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. Come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us and bring your questions for us to investigate right here on Spaced Out Radio.
There's news, and there's The Encounter. This is Spaced Out Radio News Director Everett Thiemer inviting you to check out The Encounter. Our half-hour news segment every Monday through Friday night is different compared to what you're used to. Our goal is to bring you the weird, strange, and interesting stories the mainstream tends to leave out, and stories that will make you scratch your head in disbelief. The Encounter can also be found at spacedoutradio.com and on our Facebook page, SOR The Encounter. Come give us a read.
Do you want to know what's really going on in your world? Do you have questions about who you can trust in the mainstream media? Then look no further than the Rebel Planet. Come get the straight answers right here at spacedoutradio.com. Join me, Jamie Sexton, creator of Rebel Planet News, as I fill you in on the stories behind the stories. All you truth seekers, be sure to tune in to Rebel Planet on spacedoutradio.com the third Thursday of every month.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I want you to come on a nightly journey. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, every Monday through Friday, you can come hang out with me and the other space travelers. We have it all from Carl the Alien bouncing on by to those misfit gnomes causing havoc. It's 3 hours of fun and entertainment on those topics the mainstream really doesn't want to touch. Come get all paranormal with us at spacedoutradio.com, and together, my friends, along with our resident guitar god Bumblefoot, we own the night.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Tonight's show and topic of discussion do not necessarily reflect the opinion of Spaced Out Radio, SOR Media, or its hosts. Listener discretion is advised. Here comes the second hour of Spaced Out Sunday with host Tessa Nicole Thomas. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio. And you can follow Tessa on Twitter at TessaTNT. Now, back to the show.
All right. Thanks so much, you guys, for holding on there. Tonight, we are having readings in the second hour, if you can believe that. And we have our psychic here tonight, and she is amazing. She has a plethora of information for us, and right now, she is going to do readings. So if you guys would like to call in for your free reading, we're doing that in the second hour, and the number for that is 970-335-9596. That's 970-335-9596. So, we have a caller here from area code 402. Who are we speaking with? Okay, hold on one second. Let me join you to this call. Merge calls. Sorry about that. That happens sometimes. But I was quick on it this time. Crystal Rose, thank you for being here tonight. Who are we talking to?
Hi, Tessa. It's Sharon.
Oh, how are you doing, Sharon?
Okay. I was excited that you have a really great medium on tonight.
I know, isn't she awesome? I've been looking forward to this for months, and it's finally here.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'd like to have a mediumship reading. I can't hear her. Uh-uh. I hear you. Can't hear her. You want me to call back, or why don't you call me? Get her on the line and then call me. You've got my number there.
Let me see. Well, it shows that she's... Cynthia, can you hear me? And can you hear Sharon? No.
You want me to try that?
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Cynthia, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Holy shnikes. All right, so I'm going to add Sharon to the call. Sharon is calling back right now. I'm so sorry about that. So, we have Cynthia Rose, and Cynthia, we have Sharon coming in. And Sharon, go ahead with your question again.
Hi. Can she hear me now?
Hi, Sharon. I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thanks. Hi, Cynthia. I was just hoping for a mediumship reading. A lot of family on the other side.
Okay. So now it's a little different on radio for me, but I don't know if you get who you want right now, but I do feel that I have a lady in the spirit world that I'm aware of. I feel illness in her passing.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel like a quick passing, and she does feel maternal. So is Mother in the spirit world, please?
Yes.
Yes. So I know it was a rough go. I know she had a hard time. This is not a quick illness, or it seems like we really suffered and it went on and on. Is that true?
Yes. But when she did die, it wasn't expected. I mean, she suffered a lot.
She had a lot of health problems. All I know that now she wants to show me that she's mobile. She wants to show me how healthy she is. She wants to show she is better. Let me just take a moment and listen to what.
Okay.
does it also give me, so when I hear a name, I say it, and I know sometimes it sounds like, or it's the initial, but who's the D person in the family? The D initial, please.
My daughter.
Your daughter, okay.
Yeah, she's still alive. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so they say that sometimes to, like, acknowledge someone else in the family, to send her love that way, too. So, so I also know that there's a dog that's passed into the spirit world that's there with her as well. I don't think it's her dog, though.
Okay. Yes, I have several, but so I don't know which one it is. But
do you have a smaller dog, a female smaller dog, please, that would have passed?
Yes.
Who seems kind of scruffy and barking at me, actually, or yapping at me about something.
Huh. Okay.
Do you understand that? Like it wants to like come up on the lap, but then when you say come up on the lap, it's running all around back and forth at me.
Oh gosh. I'm not sure. And if I had a dog that was a female that was she was a stray, and she wasn't trained. She was kind of a cockapoo. I had a dog like that for a while.
And was she a lighter in color, though, please?
Oh, no. The only one I had lighter in color is a pretty big dog.
Okay, so I could be blending more than one dog here, and I'm not going to stay with the dog. I just know that she wants to say, I felt like more like she's saying, I've got a dog that's passed, is what she was saying to me. Okay. So, and I'm not going to, so I know that she's there, but also does Father pass, Father in the spirit world, please? And does Father pass before her, please?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yes, okay. And I feel like she's talking about giving something up. Giving something up. Has there been something going on for you? You've had to let go of something or give something up? Or I feel letting go feeling with this. Are you considering getting rid of a lot of stuff or moving or something like that?
Yeah, I've had to. A lot of things have been stolen that were hers.
That's what she means. Okay.
And I feel really bad.
And you have to know she's okay. I feel so much better with her in the spirit world. She feels so much better. And is it also like, is it her sister that's in the spirit world? I hear something about a sister. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, she has two. A little one and an older one. A little sister that died when she was 2, and then her older sister.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like she was talking about the one she'd reunited with. Yeah, so the little sister. So it's a happy reunion. Okay, just a moment here. And did you quit smoking, please? Are you a smoker?
Yes, I'm a smoker. I'm trying to quit.
You're trying to quit smoking. I think she's saying quit smoking. But isn't she one to talk? Okay.
Yeah, she quit, though. I mean, just like that.
Oh,
no problem.
That's why. Okay, but she did smoke.
She's weird, though. You know, she had a cigarette in the doctor's office so that you could smoke then. And he said, you need to quit smoking. And so, she said, okay, and never smoked again. And never had a problem. She's driving me crazy because she's just different.
Right. And is there, I don't know what area code you're calling from because we got cut off. But is there some connection with the East Coast for you, please?
That's Dana. That's the D. That's my daughter. Yes.
Ah, okay. All right. So she must be trying to say she's watching over her then as well.
Good.
So she brought that twice. And and I also get a feeling with her about Dana that there's is there a relationship with Dana, a newer relationship with Dana, please?
She has a partner. They aren't married yet. But
right.
My mother knew.
And they're going to get married?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like she's saying, I'm watching over her. Everything's good. She's happy for her.
Okay.
So I feel good things there as well. That she's glad that things are sorted. I'm
You
not
know
sure
what
that means?
She has had a new baby since my mother passed.
Ah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
That might be the new.
Right. And there is also some. Did Mom have a stroke? Why do I have a pain in my head all of a sudden?
She did, but she got out of that. She couldn't speak, and she told God she wants to speak, and so she woke up fine and could speak when we left the hospital.
Yeah. I guess that she's a very strong woman, and somebody's birthday is around Christmas or the month of December as well.
Oh, that a friend of mine. Yeah, a friend I haven't spoke to in a long time.
When they bring that to me, is there something about needing to get in touch with a friend or clear something with a friend? She would bring that for a reason.
Yeah. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, maybe you've got to clear something about that with yourself so it doesn't eat away at you or something. Because I do feel like she wants to unburden you about not worrying so much about things, and she wants to lighten your field, your energy field. I know she's trying to lift you up. So I know that there's concerns or worries that and I'm not trying to go into that psychically as much as give her a message, but I do feel like she is pointing you in a new direction with some new people, and it's almost like she wants to say, don't look back. It's like this seems like, don't turn around and look back. Just head yourself in that direction. Stay there. Because I feel like we're going back into old thoughts and we're bringing the worry into the now. Is that true, Sharon?
Probably. My son is there. My son is crossed. And a lot of people bring up that he had somebody hit him in the head first. And that's something that wasn't reported. And so I don't know if that's what you were picking up at the head, the pain.
Okay. And your son is so there's some connection with your son in this with two initials, somebody who goes by two initials, like JB or something, or do you understand that? DJ, okay. And I had it reversed. That's like me. I'm directionally dyslexic.
Yeah.
So, okay. And who is that?
Somebody who probably knows everything about what happened.
Okay. I do feel like somebody has been dishonest there. I do feel like somebody's surprised. There's an element of surprise here. Now, usually when I go into details about something, a little harder for me to do this sort of thing, I think, on the air because I go into a deeper trance with it. So I'm doing my best here to do this for you quickly, but I feel like he is, I do think there is some kind of hitting the ground or something like that, feeling that with him. But I feel like he would have also had something in his system at the time as well, or something that alters his state. I feel like I'm going to fall down. Do you understand?
Who, my son?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, or the other person. My son didn't have anything in his system. There was an autopsy. He was fine.
Did they say there was any? Like, I feel like I'm so dizzy I'm going to fall down. So,
well, I think that he was hit on the head because there's blood splatter everywhere. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that could be why I was asking if he had something in his system, but I literally feel like I'm going to curl right over.
Right.
So I must have not, I don't like people to relive the trauma of anything, but I must have not fallen right away or something, or taken a few steps or something. But there is an element of surprise to this, and I do feel like, as I connect with him, he wants to I think we're going into, he's trying to give me an M word. Is there a mark or an M initial? Michael, Mark, please, on M initial. It's important. I'm sorry I can't get it for you right now. Just trying to move it quickly because we're on the radio here. But
sure.
There's also something around this time, like an event or birthday or something around this time as well that's important to him. So, do you know what that is?
You mean when he passed? Something important?
Like there's something like around this time, somebody's birthday, somebody's event.
Thanksgiving.
Something.
Thanksgiving. It was right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, okay. I'd love to say yes, I'm right with that, but I think he's actually talking about it being more somebody's birthday or something.
Okay.
So, and you're not recalling what that is?
No, I don't.
And do you have something wooden of his, please?
Yes.
Okay. And he's like, he wants to put something wooden in my hand as his way of, like, he wants to thank you also, like it's way of like saying you're a good mom and I love you. And I don't know why the wood's important. I hope that means something to you, dear.
He used to make, he was very gifted. He used to make things.
But you encouraged him to do, him. You brought that out in him, and that's why he's saying love back to you, because he wouldn't have done it without your encouragement.
Mm-hmm. The last thing he gave me the day he was killed was a drawing he did, but that was stolen. That was one of those things that was stolen. I do have one copy of it, but I was, I'm glad to hear that they're together. I was worried about my mom a lot, everything you brought up, because, the day before I told the doctors I wanted to bring her home. She was up talking, or trying to talk, and then they just screwed up really bad, and I had to let her go. And it was really bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, dear, you have to know that everything is okay in the spirit world, and they're together. And can I ask you, is there any Irish in the family?
A lot.
A lot. Okay, because I'm like, we had a wake for him. We had a party. For everyone. People, I feel the party with the Irish when I'm there. So I'm like, it's not just one person greeting. It's a big party.
Yeah, that had to be in heaven when she got there, because she had these 3 Irish uncles that she was very close to, Macaulay, and maiden name Harrigan, and they'd have quite a bit of drinks, and they'd sing H-A-R-R-I. No matter in the bowling alley, no matter where they were, whenever my mom showed up. So that's kind of cool. That tells me.
Well, there you go. Yep.
They were partying.
Yeah, well, and that's, now I know why she was coming to me with a feeling of a party dress, because she was trying to get that to me from the beginning, but it wasn't until I got the Irish feeling that I understood that. So just know that they're okay, and know she's watching over your daughter, and that, she's not troubled by the things that are stolen. I feel like we don't understand when these things happen, but I know that sometimes life forces us into some changes. And they know that you are somehow being forced into almost like having a new life, kind of like, let's start again, let's have a new life kind of. And it's almost like we don't want you to go back in the memories. And yet I know there are memories, but she says, no, let's not go right. Let's just put her going forward. Let's have her visioning her new life, what she wants. And there's big changes that could come for you. But she doesn't want you to look back. I know that for sure. That's a big, prominent thing with her.
That's awesome.
Okay. That doesn't surprise me, but I really, really appreciate your gift, sharing it with me. I really do.
Aww.
You're welcome, dear. You're so welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for calling in, Sharon. It was so great to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Okay.
All right. Have a good night.
It's never easy saying goodbye on this, on this plane, and yet it's just like they're in the next room, and it's, for me, the one thing I have to say about when animals pass, I know that my little doggie, we have 4 animals, but I know that when I come home from work, he looks at me and says, okay, your lap now. And he wants to just sit there with me, And I think the only thing that gets me through the fact that he won't live 90 years or something is that I know I'll be greeted with him because there's a love bond.
Oh, yeah, and I know pets go to heaven. Like, some people are like, no, they don't. And I'm like, yes, they do. I think everything, basically, that has that light, that energy, you get it off of plants and everything. It's all there. Even your pets. And some people think they aren't intelligent, they don't have feelings, but I think that's BS. Like, they do. You could just see it in how happy they are when you get home, and it's just the purest, most amazing love.
Oh, yes. When I travel for work, if, my husband is here and I'm traveling, I have to FaceTime with my little boy and tell him I'm not coming home, or else he'll sleep by the door.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to sleep here.
I say, look, I say, you have to go, you can go and sleep, and snuggle with friends tonight because I'm not coming home tonight, because they live so much in the now time. I can't tell him I'm coming home in 3 days. I have to do it every day, or else he goes and sleeps right by the door waiting for me.
Oh, poor
how
baby.
How lucky am I? Yeah.
So lucky. It is. It's the greatest, purest love. And children as well. They're so pure and innocent. And you don't know love until you have that either fur baby or real baby. Like, that's when you know real love. But our next caller comes in from area code 425. Who are we talking to?
Robin.
Hey, Sir Robin. How's it going?
Good.
Good. So, did you have a question?
Yes. So, on both sides of our family is in turmoil. So, my question is that will everything end up coming out okay?
So, on both sides of... Hi, Robin. Are you calling from... are we allowed to say where he's from? Or I guess we don't. It doesn't matter. Did you say on both sides of your family things are not going well in the living world?
Yeah. My cousin Kristen left her husband, and she wasn't paying any attention to her daughter, and she was chatting with this guy, and so she just left New York, and now my cousin Adrian, her boyfriend came drunk and ended up hitting her. So now he's out. So I'm just wondering if everything will end up being okay on both sides of the family.
I'm sorry to hear that, dear. You're quite sensitive and feel all the feelings of what's going on with everybody, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm more concerned about that right now, like how for you to handle that. But I will say that I don't believe in fortune telling. I believe we're in charge of how we interact with our destiny. But I think somebody, I don't know which side between those two stories, but so I think perhaps it's the first story you told me, but there's some issue with not dealing with or facing their problems. And so unless they deal, there's avoidance going on, unless that's dealt with, then it will be more difficult. You see, it's hard to work things out if we don't face up with them. Do you understand?
Okay.
And I also, there's got to be a strong love of music with you. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's really important that you do music. Have you taken up an instrument or anything?
Yeah, I've done drumming in the past, and I'm starting to learn how to play the ukulele.
Yeah, I want you to play the ukulele or the guitar or something and write some songs, and I want you to play with that because there's a need for your soul to find a way of expressing out. I actually want you to sing it out. I don't care what you do with it, but I want you to express yourself through music because you're picking up on all the feelings and worrying about everybody. And the thing is, we can't control other people's lives and their behaviors. And the other thing I will tell you is that when I think of someone and they're going through a difficulty, see, I know that a thought is energy. So I would see your cousin as, it was your cousin, right? We're talking about? So I would see your cousin as healthy and happy and put that thought out that she sorts things out in her mind and gets the confusion out of her mind. Because there's something that has to be sorted there, and she thinks she's dealing with it in the best way, but there's confusion. So see her as coming to her own answers, figuring out what she wants, and being happy. Because when we picture somebody in their problem, we're just reinforcing their problem. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I also want to say, I hope you don't spend too much time alone. Are you spending too much time alone?
No, I'm not.
Good. But it's not, you need to have time out with people. Do you understand? You need a good balance of that. But some of us are one way or the other way. I want to put you out with people that are supportive in that way. But I hope you'll pick up that ukulele and have some more fun with it.
Okay. No, that's it.
I hope it does work out. I just think that what you're asking me is to see if I can see what choices are people going to make. And I don't believe that life is that fated or ordained that we can see it. I think we interact with our lives. Do you see?
Yeah.
And so that's something for you to consider, that perhaps you can envision more of what it is that you'd like to have in your life and see it, because I think you're a little bit of a fatalist that way. Yeah, and that's not true. It's not true that our life is already written. We can actually co-create with that divine energy.
Okay.
So put some of those dreams into songs.
All right.
Good to talk to you, Robin. I wish you the best.
All right. Thanks.
Good night, Robin.
Okay. Good night.
All right.
So our next caller comes from area code 360. Who are we talking to? You might be on mute. There you are. Who are we talking to?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Aloha, Yvonne.
Hi, hon. My question I would like to ask Cynthia is, both of my parents are on the other side. They both have passed for a number of years. But a question I've always wanted to ask is, were they aware that of the 6 kids, I was like gifted?
Absolutely. In fact, if you have those kids after they've passed, I think they often hold them in the spirit world before they come to this world, because I've seen it where they hold a child and show holding that child and that child coming into the spirit world. So I truly believe that connection is already there and they're already aware of it.
Yeah, because, I've had my gifts since, I was having experience since I was 3.5, which for the longest time I wasn't aware until, I got older type thing. And I truly enjoyed, my relationship with both parents as I grew, and I had close ties to both of them, even through the divorce. I was the one that kind of maintained the connection between the two parents, type thing. And I know I was quite a bit, for them to handle because I was gifted, kind of thing. But it was just a question I've always had in the back of my head. And I miss them so much and cherish the relationship.
And you talk to them. That's wonderful. Because when you think about it, when people pass and then we just say, oh, they're dead, and we ignore them, I mean, it's good that you, that you talk and you remember. Now, is there with Mom, is Mom short, please?
Oh, God, she is a tiny woman. She was like 4'8", but she was dynamite.
What's that?
She was a dynamite personality. I mean, you know what I mean?
And there's is she religious too, please?
Yeah, my mom, as opposed to my dad, was very religious oriented in terms of being a fervent Catholic,
Yeah, but it's and it worked for her. She always wanted to be kind, to be the best person. I know that she would have loved. Did she bring food to people when she went to their houses, please?
Oh yes, it's a cultural thing because I come from Hawaii and we're Filipino, so the sharing of food is a really big thing. But my mom did some really unique things, like she sold Avon, and she would actually go to the leper hospital, and she would have clients there. Or she would sit with a friend, like perhaps who is dying, and so she did these kinds of things, which other people would not feel comfortable doing.
Well, and it's, I think your mom has, sometimes when we're Catholic and we have the gift, we find our ways around using our gift, and that's what she did.
Yeah. Yeah. So was my both my parents gifted too? Because I felt as I grew older, well, especially my dad, I felt he was like highly intuitive.
And now you said both of them were from from Hawaii, but I feel like Dad is more, claims his culture more than Mom in some way. And I feel uncomfortable saying that. I don't think I'm explaining that right. Just a moment.
Yeah.
He has a whole different attitude about it than her.
Well, yeah, my mom was much more, how would I say, provincial, in terms of the, girls are supposed to, be acting this way. Well, my dad, on the other hand, was much more flexible. My mom was always trying to rein me in. And then my dad, on the other hand, would allow me, to do things that, not necessarily girls are allowed to do. Like he taught me how to box. He let me.
Makes sense for me. That makes sense for me. Absolutely, that makes sense for me when you say that. But I feel them so close together in the spirit world. I could almost feel them like one. They're just so close in the spirit world.
Yeah, because they really loved each other, but because of like my dad's human frailty, you know what I mean? He had problems in terms of, when he was overseas, in actuality, he was not necessarily a faithful husband. And so,
that was his, and that's his problem with how he thought a man is supposed to be. Do you know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that he didn't love her or anything. Yeah.
No, I think even though my mom remarried after the divorce, she shared with me that, my father would always be her first love.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I feel. And that's what I tell people is that certain people seem to have soul connections. And then when they get to the other side, there they are together,
Right. So are they are together on the other side?
Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah, because
I also want to say there's something about paying attention to the birds, letting you know that we're around with birds seems important.
Birds?
Birds, yeah.
Well, I do receive a lot of, especially the red-tailed hawk, I get feathers. And I see them always flying. Like if I go out, driving anywhere, that's one of the first things I'll see is red hawks are always with me. And I also, in my dreams...
That's perfect. That's
yeah,
perfect.
and
I love that you're paying attention to those signs. That's perfect.
Yeah. And so I always feel like I'm safe when I see them, that, they're there with me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I hope we answered your question, and I'm sorry because I'm in this. I don't even know what it was now, but I hope that was helpful for you.
Thank you so much, though, because it relieves me, because I know that I was quite a challenge for them. But then I also, I wasn't too much of a trouble as the other children were. They had more issues than I did, type thing. And stuff. So, but thank you so much. You did, answer my question. Thank you, Cynthia.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Yvonne. Have a great night.
I will, Tessa. Take care, baby. Bye-bye.
All right. Good night. Bye-bye. I always love hearing her voice. She's just got that positive energy, and even though she's so far away, I feel it. It's awesome. All right, so our next caller comes from area code 484. Who are we talking to?
Hello, it's Christopher from
Hey,
Allentown.
Christopher. Yeah, what's up?
I've had a weird dream this morning. I wasn't even planning on calling until this dream it changed that. It was completely in Spanish. And what I saw was, I was like in an old jail, and I was talking to this man. I was in a very small cell, and then I walked around. I talked with different members of government and stuff in Spain and stuff. I wonder if I'm starting to learn about my past lives and who I'm related to as well, in a spiritual way instead of just research.
It's possible. I also feel like there's a mix there of a feeling of also your psyche not trusting the government. Is that true?
Only the U.S.
Pardon me?
Only the current government. I've had this dream before I had these issues. It's been ongoing through my whole life.
Sure, but I mean, I feel like there's a mix of that in there as well going on. So the thing about if you're having something with a past life, I think if we're going to go down that road, how does it serve you to explore that? How does that help you to know about a past life? I'm very practical with my spirituality, and I say, if I'm going to have this experience, if it can bring healing to something, then it's useful. So if you're having that experience that you were in that, how did you feel in the jail?
I was the visitor.
You were the visitor.
And I knew the person I spoke to. It seems like it's part of a quest I'm on.
Right, and I think that there is a yearning then also to make a difference in the world more than you feel you're making right now. And I think that something's bubbling up within you that you want to do more. Is that true?
Yes.
So then that could be your soul speaking to you, saying, there's more that I want to do. And I'm not sure that the Spanish coming in there, I'm not sure why that's coming in there, but if that feels familiar to you and it feels right, then you've got to listen for the signs in your daily life. That's what I believe.
I was familiar with the names as well.
And you can have that experience in your daily life where, have you ever had that feeling where you meet someone and you feel like you've known them, but you never met them before, but it all seems familiar?
Yeah, I recognized it.
You recognized it?
But yeah, I recognized the surname in the dream, too.
And have you been doing any kind of volunteer work, please?
Over 30 years ago. I haven't been ever since.
You haven't been ever since. But you have a yearning to do more, don't you?
Yeah.
I think that there also might be some peace to make with that. Are you unable to do the volunteer work now?
Yeah.
So I think there's also some peace to be made with yourself, that maybe what you've done is enough, that you are enough, that your presence being here on the earth is enough, and that just your interaction with people is enough and beautiful itself. I just want to remind you of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I just recently, about a couple months back, learned about the Spanish part of my roots.
And you aren't able to go and travel, but you'd like to?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that you can do is just to, put your hand to your heart and just sit quietly and just say hello to your ancestors and thank them for guiding you and thank them and take their love. I do have a free download at my website called Connecting with Loved Ones. If you go there, and you can download that and just take that in, and you can connect with people that are your relatives in the spirit world, even if you've never met them. Tess, am I allowed to share the website?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so if you go to cynthiarosemedium.com, if you subscribe to my newsletter, there is a free download called Connecting with Loved Ones, and you could sit and take that in.
Mm-hmm.
And that might help you, and then you might feel like you've got some more information coming to you and feel more peace in your soul about that. I hope that's helpful to you.
Yeah, it's weird. My dreams are not just in English. And in real life, I can actually read the languages too, even though I've never been trained in them.
Oh, I think that makes sense. You know, when I speak to somebody in the spirit world and they don't speak English, I just hear them in English or feel them in English.
Mm-hmm. I was able to completely understand him. It's weird.
You never what?
I was able to completely understand in the dream, and I spoke in it too.
Well, that's beautiful that you have that.
Yeah, I'm going to explore it more. I'm going to use that demo to talk to him more.
Yeah, I hope that helps you. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tess.
Thanks, Christopher. Have a good night. It was so good hearing from you.
Thank you very much.
All right, you have a
Bye.
good one. Bye.
You're welcome.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so it looks like we have a caller here from area code 360. Who are we talking to? You might be on mute. I'm wondering if that was Yvonne and she just didn't hang up. Okay, area code 360. Are you there? You might be muted. Yep, they just hung up. Okay, so we don't have any more callers on the line, and